It's time for Market Explainer, your number one business news podcast. Hosted by Danny and the big man. And it starts right now.
Now, our next follow-up is my good friend who lost a ton of money shorting Herbalife, lost $400 million going long on Netflix. And the reason we're talking about Bill Ackman and doing a follow-up here is because it's not one, but it's two stories we covered in one.
Yes.
And the two stories is we covered the Netflix losing all this money.
Yeah.
And we had covered Bill Ackman, who was this star of the shorting world. He was I wouldn't say the bad boy.
See, Danny and I go back and forth. Danny and I didn't agree that CNN is an evil company. And now we're on the opposite sides. Danny, this is like a superhero to Danny because he makes money traditionally off of the losing and suffering of people. And I'm like, this is a bad guy. He's a bad guy. He's made millions, if not billions of dollars over the years by shorting companies and tearing companies down and apart and leaking information and God knows what other things.
Well, we
and
don't know
making
that
money.
He leaked information that was useful to his position leaked. Sometimes that just happens, you know.
I'm just saying that if you watch the movie Accountant, you know these people that short companies control media. I'm just saying. Anyway, so what's the guy's name that
Bill
played
Ackman.
an accountant? No, if Ben Affleck has taught me anything, it's that the short companies out there are controlling media. Anyway, the point is this guy, for the first time, Danny and I covered the story because Danny's superhero because he makes money off of misery. First time he invests in a true blue chip type of company, right?
He goes,
I'm going to stop taking money short.
Yeah.
I'm going to invest in a real company thinking it's going to go up in value. He just happened to do it at the exact time that Netflix turns around and loses half of its value.
So my only thing about this is how bad is this guy kicking himself in his own jewels, saying the one time I go long instead of short on a stock, and it like he inverse Kramered himself, bro.
He did. It's like you could see him in should I short it or should I buy it? Should I short it or should I buy it?
Yeah, he's the angel and the devil on his shoulder.
Should I short it or should I buy it?
Yeah, and the devil says, go short. And he's like,
I can't believe...
I'm better now. I'm Bill Ackman. I'm a better man. I'm going to go long on a FANG company. I'm going to go long on Netflix. And then he just goes, punch in the dick. And
did he have his first grandkid and he was like, I got to start building something instead of tearing it down. And he got but I don't know why he takes the $430 million haircut. Why does he sell right now? Why?
That's interesting.
It's half of his value, right?
Yeah.
Half of his value is gone. And he decides 5 months later, right?
Yeah.
Takes a $430 million haircut and then goes, no, I'm getting out now. Right?
And that is interesting to me. And I'm curious to know if he goes, I've made a mistake, right? You know, some of us have had those experiences in our life where we're like, I turned over a new leaf. I'm going to be a better person. I'm going to be kinder and gentler. And then one nominally bad thing happens and you go, that's it. I'm getting the baseball bat out of my trunk. Someone get me my leather jacket. We're going to go steal 60 cars. Over 100 cars overnight, so they don't kill my brother Kip. That's the story of Gone 60 Seconds.
So you think he's gone back to shorting stocks to make back? He's like, I want out so I can have access to my money and go back to shorting stocks, make this $430 million back before the end of the year. It all washes out. I'm good.
I don't know that he's going to go back to shorting. I think once you've publicly said, I'm going to start investing for the longer term. Listen, I don't know about this guy, but here's what I can tell you. If you're investing at this level, you have some sort of gambling problem, right? Maybe. And so I'm just saying, like, he's probably just like, I'm going to take this loss. And he's probably motivated and driven to like, all right, we're going to have to find the smaller companies where I can divvy up the whatever's left and make the money back. And that's what I think he's going to do. I don't think he's going to go back to shorting necessarily.
Look, I find it hard that he's only been in 5 months. He's taken the $430 million haircut. However, I do understand his red flags. His red flags are it's not even really about that Netflix, because we talked about during the Netflix episode about how they lost subscribers, but why they lost subscribers, which is you can get it, right? You can understand
Yeah.
it, that kind of thing. I think his red flags were, and we kind of mentioned them. They have now come out and said they're going to offer a product with commercials, right?
Yeah.
You and I at our last when you and I talked about it, they were thinking about it, but now
Yeah.
they've
Now
come out
they.
and said we're going to do it. They've come
Yeah.
out and said they've now fired a certain percentage of their marketing department as of yesterday, right?
Right.
Now
Yeah.
they've come out and also said that they've canceled a couple of shows and a couple of deals with big name actors that they had said that they were going to do. So
Right.
these are all red flags. These are all desperate things that a studio
Right.
in Hollywood, if a studio in Hollywood doing it, they're on their way out, not their way in, right?
Right.
So these are all red flags where maybe he got, okay, there's a red flag. Wait a minute, now there's two. Wait a minute, now there's three. Wait a minute, now there's 8 red flags. Maybe
Right.
I need to get out because he thinks
Yeah.
there won't be an upside soon.
Right. And here's the thing. If he stayed in it, if you're a long-term investor, you can probably recover. But if you're investing at this scale, you can recover, but how long you waiting? Right.
Right, and that's the whole point. He could look at it and go, hey, because that's what shorting stock market the normal way, it's all projection, right? It's
Yeah.
your opinion on what you think is going to happen, right?
Right.
So in
Totally.
this case, he's seeing these things and going, okay, look, I've lost $430 million in 5 months, right?
Right.
Like you said, he could see, based on these red flags and short-term sentiment, that it's going to continue to go down for a while. But 5 years from now, it may be back up to where it was and more. But do I
Right.
want to wait 5 years for a
No.
$430 million return, right? That I
Right.
could put in something else and have 10 times that in the next 5 years.
Right. And that's just to get even. He needs to just to get even. He has to do that. And
Right.
then he has to go, all right, well, this is how much. So, in business, there's this thing called opportunity cost, right?
Right.
And I've made investments in things where I've made a profit, but it's like I waited. It took me so freaking long to make a profit that I could have been making smaller profits multiple times over if I
Right.
hadn't deployed my capital. But it's just like, I was experimenting. I've tried to flip a few motorcycles, buy them, do a little bit of work, flip them. I've made money, right? But it just takes so dang long. And I'm not a mechanic, especially on small engines. So I need to have another guy do this and this guy do that. And then I got to, my buddy has to give me his truck so I can tow the thing around. And so by the time I do the math, it's like, yeah, I made $200, but it took me 6 months
Yeah.
of time
That-
and effort. So
That's what this tells me is he thinks he can make more money off of other investments before he makes money on this, right?
Right.
Before he gets
Totally.
back to making money on this. That's
Right.
what he tells me, and whether he's right or wrong, who knows, because he
Right.
obviously was wrong in January, right?
yeah.
And
And this
we're not
guy-
all right all the time.
Yeah. And Bill Ackman was the only other time that I can think where he was this wrong was when he shorted Herbalife. And he made an entire documentary got made called Betting on Zero. Fantastic documentary. Was my introduction to Bill Ackman and the reason I kind of started liking the guy. Anyway,
Well, he
That's
didn't
that.
just bet against them. He went against them. Like when you talk about stories and what I mean,
and hey, listen,
controlling media and whatever, he went after them.
And if you actually, and listen, I was in the direct sales industry. Even in an industry such as direct sales tends to have the public has a negative perception of that industry. Within the industry, we had a less than stellar reputation for Herbalife. We're like, oh, you're in Herbalife? Brother in Christ, let me help you out here with something, man. You need to get out. So,
Well, it made a crap ton of money for some people.
Yeah, some people.
Like
Yeah,
it
for
made
sure.
a crap ton of money for some. There was a lot of people that lost a lot, but there was
Yeah.
a lot of people that made a lot of money that came out the other side perfectly clean.
Yeah, of course.
Didn't go to jail. No kind of ramifications. Got to
Right.
keep the houses they bought. Got to keep
Yeah.
the. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's our show for this week. Hope you enjoyed the
Yep.
updates. Danny, what's
Right.
our outgoing
week.
tip of the week?
So, tip of the week. Hey, do you want some free stuff? You can pull up to any grocery store, Target, Walmart, pull up into a lane for
I
curbside
don't know where
delivery.
this is going, but it's already
Yeah.
making me nervous.
you open your trunk and people just come put stuff in it, right? And they say, hey, is this delivery for Sally? And I go, yeah, delivery's for Sally. And they throw a bunch of stuff in the trunk. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do with all these diapers, but, whatever.
In
Right?
today's world, they can't even ask you why your name is Sally.
Of course
All
not.
right. All right, folks. That's the show. God help us all. We'll see you next time.
Bye now.